Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the I Try to Be Straight podcast with Susie
and Nate.
And we are here at a different location. As you can see, our great friends at Propagate let us use their space, and we are so thankful and stoked to be here.
Yeah, this is a really cool spot in Sacramento. They sell plants and it's in a vet venue, but it's a good friend of ours spot, and we are really honored to get to use the space. It's really cute, and yeah, happy to be here. We've been in Sacramento a while and really love this city. It's super walkable, super awesome. Came out here, still live here. It's been cool. Good community, good city. Happy to be here. What's your favorite thing about Sacramento, Susie?
I think my favorite thing is it feels small, but it's still like pretty big. Like you still meet new people out, but then you see the same familiar faces around. Yeah. It feels like Cheers.
It's kind of dense.
Did you watch Cheers growing up?
I didn't. just Sex and the City is all I watch now. That's my whole personality.
Oh yeah, did you figure out who you are?
I feel like I am the redheaded short hair.
You're Miranda.
Yeah, and you said that, and I didn't want to believe it, but it's true. I'm Miranda, and she's not cute and funny. She's neurotic and annoying, and I'm like, I'm neurotic and annoying. It's like when people said I was Ross on Friends, and I'm like,
oh my God, you are Ross on Friends.
I'm Ross and Miranda. I don't know how anyone stands me. I hate both of them. They're both horrible. They're horrible. They're annoying.
They're not horrible.
I'm horrible and annoying.
Did you watch? Well, okay.
My victim complex.
We're gonna have to get you to watch Sex and the City, the Next Generation one. Have you seen it?
Does she get cool? Does she find herself?
Spoilers. Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. What? She does what?
Spoiler. She gets with Che Diaz. Do you know Che Diaz?
No, but he sounds hot.
Well, it's a woman. Or well, I think it's.
They finally make her gay.
They're non-binary.
She gives a little,
I think they might.
She gives
be
a little
non-binary.
gay, actually.
Yes. And there was that episode where people were like, "Are you a lesbian, Miranda?" And she was like, "No. Why do I give that?"
Wow.
Yeah. Anyways.
That's actually, she does.
Anywho.
But we shouldn't judge people based on their looks.
No.
I was thinking, we're actually supposed to have a guest today, but they got the stomach flu. And I actually have been wanting to talk about things because I feel like we're interviewing people a lot, and there's a lot of things going through our heads, our process. This year was crazy. Every year's crazy after coming out and deconstructing, but I just feel like this year, talking to all these people, really digging into faith, having to really look at this. The first few years of coming out, I was just like, or 2 years, this is like year 3. I was definitely just like, hey, I'm going to put my faith all up in the air and not really address it, think about it too much. But ironically, when you start a podcast, you kind of have to think about it and talk about it, and you have other people asking you about it, and all of a sudden there's all this pressure of where is my faith now? And I think it's changing, and it's still in a lot of ways up in the air and vulnerable. So I haven't wanted to give too much because it's very personal, but I do feel like I want to talk about it more. And today I want to talk about where my faith is at now, what I actually believe faith can look like outside the closet and outside of organized religion. So I wanted to just chat about it. I think I want to do more casual chats, just me and Susie, because I think I'm not as into fighting about things anymore as I am just, hey, this is who we are, and I want you to feel like there's life and existence after coming out, and navigating this isn't always scary and such a big deal. I want to bring humanity to this process. I feel like sometimes just me and you talking is missed and needed. Yeah,
no, I agree. I think that when we have a guest on, we try to do our best to honor them and honor their stories, and so we shy away from sharing too much of us. Which is not a bad thing. I think
it's good to learn how to do for me. Let other people talk.
Yeah.
This is
and these episodes are more growing for me because I am not a yapper.
Yeah. You're a secret yapper.
I can be a yapper if you get me in the right with the right people.
You think about a lot. You have a lot to say.
Yeah. With the right people.
You're more
careful.
Get shy. You're more careful with what you say, and I've learned from you how to be more cautious. So I think, again, we balance each other. Yeah, we balance each other. And it'd be crazy if it was just me.
I'm so afraid of getting canceled online. I don't know why, which is crazy because I'm like, the whole canceling notion to me has been cuckoo bananas from the start.
Yeah, it's so much lately.
But like when you're perceived from a 15-second thing that you said, that, I hate that.
Absolutely.
I don't like it.
And that's how the internet goes. And
that's why I'm afraid to speak sometimes.
We all don't want to let that affect us, but I don't think we can ever be totally exempt from other people's opinions affecting us. We all want acceptance. Online acceptance still feels real, even though it's not.
It's really not. Yeah.
And I think for me, I don't want to be like canceled. Even talking about my faith right now, I'm like, and get into that in a second. Like my faith isn't super, super strong right now.
Yeah.
It's a little messy. And it's vulnerable to show that, because I'm like, okay, people, I want other people to go on their faith journey. If they want to be super Christian, they can, because that's what I believe. But also, I don't want people to be like, oh, he lost some of his faith because he's gay. And I'm like, no, I lost my faith. I didn't lose my faith, but I lost my strict connection to the Christian religious community or entity. I'm not as connected as I was. And it's not because I'm gay. It's because when you unpack one piece, often a lot of other stuff comes out. But
where do you feel like you're at in your faith now?
My faith now is, I was having to explain this. I was on another podcast where they fully just, it was a super Christian podcast talking about like Bethel and how it's like kind of affected people's faiths and often led them to questioning their faith more often than not. And I had to really think about where I was at, because they asked me a lot of questions like, where is my faith now? I had to kind of lay it out. And I feel like starting at this podcast, even, I'm like, I am kind of coming on here as the gay Christian, and I am still in touch with my faith. But even the word Christian, I guess organized Christian religion, especially in the US, is so full of people that are misusing it to control people. Yeah. It's full of judgment. It's become a political movement this last few years, especially. And the core elements of what always connected me to my faith, like I've always had this like kind of, I feel like I like communication with this like God. And I've always felt like just this like this softness in my spirit, where when I'm going through something, I'm just like kind of asking the void, asking God, like, why does it feel like this? Why am I going through this? And sometimes I'll just feel like comfort, like connecting to like spirituality, connecting to God. And I've always just felt like that didn't seem fake or made up. It just felt tangible and organic. And that piece was always there. But this Christian entity that's become such a thing in America, is culturally like a part of our culture, doesn't feel like something I am connected to. So right now, I guess I'd say the real tricky thing is sometimes I'm just like, I'm just tired of all of this. Christians, I don't relate to that much. Like I have a lot of agnostic friends. I'm like, I can relate to you guys a lot more. Some of you still believe there might be something, but you're not like, this is what it has to be like. It has to be A, B, C, D.
What about it feels more relatable? Is it like there's not as much black and white rules? There's not like a list of shoulds? What about your agnostic friends is relatable?
They don't act like they have all the answers.
Yeah.
It just feels more real, because I feel kind of fake when I'm like, I definitely think God did this, and I definitely think like this is 100% this way. Like we're dealing with like century old book, religion. It's changed a lot. We have reconciled different verses. We have fit different verses to fit our like decade or centuries version of this faith. Saying that we have it now all figured out in 2024 just feels dishonest, disingenuous.
Yeah. It's interesting because so many people, when they are searching for faith or higher power religion, it's because they're looking for answers. So it's interesting to me to hear that for you, what feels dishonest about it is that there are like concrete black and white answers. And having been on the journey that we've been on, it's like, it doesn't feel like it's in alignment with what we've been through. Like that we have answers, it doesn't fit our narrative and like our experience, because so many people didn't have answers. It was like a pray the gay away, and it never worked. Yeah. So what's the answer to that? Be celibate?
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What have you, because I've talked a lot, but what do you feel like in your journey? Let's get you canceled. No, you're a lot less canceled than me. If anyone gets canceled, it'll be me, and you'll skate away into the sunset. I got canceled for
telling people that it's okay to be friends with your Christian friends.
No, that was crazy. Canceled. We can't read the comments that literally because the internet,
I didn't get canceled, but it was
the internet
like,
has no filter.
No, a guy read me to filth. I was like, damn.
No. For saying that we should
down.
For saying that we should like have Christian friends and like,
well, if you feel called to,
it's a personal choice.
Exactly. If
it's
you feel
all
called
a personal.
to.
If you feel like you shouldn't,
yes,
do not. We're not.
There are friends that I dropped. Like
we are not the Bible. We are not experts. Take everything with a grain of salt, especially what I say.
Okay, but what do I feel in my faith? I still feel very connected to my Christian faith.
Yeah.
I don't like telling people that I'm Christian because of everything that you just said. It's connected to homophobia, racism, what is it?
Trigonometry.
I don't know. And geometry and
algebra. Things we hate. Math.
No, it's connected to white supremacy. Like it's connected to so many things. Yeah. And
heaven is going to be a very white place statistically, for the record.
Well, and that's the thing is, in my experience, the Christian church that the Bible talks about is so much more inclusive than the Western white evangelical church that we experience today. And so that is why I don't like to say that I'm Christian, because I'm automatically feels like I'm putting myself into a political party, which is not accurate. And it has made dating hard. It has made my faith hard. I don't like that my faith is automatically tied to a political party. And for that reason, I don't like saying that I'm Christian, which is sad because literally the word Christian just means Christ follower.
Yeah.
And I also feel like in me saying that, maybe I'm putting myself in the perspective that like the only way to get to heaven or to have a connection with a higher power is through Jesus. And I've actually kind of experienced the other side of it, where I've been in group therapy with people that experience higher power in different forms. And who am I to say that God can't reach people in that way?
Yeah.
Like, who am I to say that someone can't connect with higher power by being in nature? Like, I do think God can show himself in so many different ways. Yeah. And my way is Jesus, but that's just me. Like, I hope I've never made anyone feel any sort of way, because by saying that, I don't know, it just feels like maybe I'm excluding people when I say that, but at the same time, there's just so much openness and grayness for me in that area. Yeah. Am I canceled now?
What do you feel about your... So, I think we shouldn't... I think knowing all the answers feels wrong. It's just the problem with Christianity is that it's mainly white people doing it, and that just automatically makes me think like... And not mainly, I know like, especially like Mexican culture, Spanish culture, like it's very prevalent. Catholic is really big in Italy, but I just mean like in India, like 95% of them are doing Hindu just because that's what's going around.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, so are we believing they're all going to hell? I'm like, I'm not believing that 95% of Indians are going to hell.
Yeah.
Like, and that most of the people in heaven are going to be like Americans and maybe like North America in general.
Yeah.
And some of Europe, but it's like, I don't have an answer for that. So for me, I'm okay with, I'm not trying to be the authority. I'll let the theologians do that. But for me and my faith, I just don't feel like they're all going to hell. I just can't. I can't. Same with like all the gay people. It's like, okay, so heaven is going to be like, the reason I don't believe those things are similar. The reason I don't believe all gay people are going to hell is pretty similar to the reason I don't believe all Indians are going to hell, mostly because I just can't imagine like God just wants all the straight white people.
Yeah.
Like there's just...
He actually does.
Yeah. I'm like, I've seen like some beautiful... Yeah. Gays are awesome. Also, like if this is a place that is that segregated, like it doesn't sound like a fun place to be for the rest of life.
Well, for them it might.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah. But that's another tangent, I guess. Well, what do you... So in my internal faith with God, like I feel very... Sometimes like the religion as a whole, I'm just turned off by a lot right now. But the piece that's always kind of kept me there is sometimes because I can be a more logical, pessimistic person by nature. So sometimes I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about any of this.
Yeah.
And when everything's just feeling crappy, I'm just like, I don't know. Who knows? Like I talk to agnostic people, I'm like, no, you're totally right. Like Christianity is blowing all this stuff up. Like it's just making messes everywhere. It's statistically like been responsible for a ton of colonization, for like a lot of murder has happened in the name of Jesus, like crusades, etc. So in general, I'm like Christianity.
Yeah, Hitler used the Bible.
Did he use the Bible some? I should know more about that.
Yeah.
And technically like Jews aren't going to heaven either. That's another thing. Like what the heck? Yeah. So all that's going on, but I still feel like I don't think there's an explanation for why we're here. I think like I feel a connection to spirituality, and to me like that lens is God and Jesus. Do I know Do I feel like 100% like I know this all the time? No. I honestly, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know if I believe any of it. I've been there. It feels vulnerable and kind of hard to say it on here because I know a lot of people use me to prop up their faith, and I encourage you to, like, it's such a personal journey. For me, I have moments where I'm like, I just don't know about any of it. But then also there's just this feeling that I've had through my life of a connection to spirituality. And I don't know exactly what that looks like now, and it's still every day it changes, but I just don't believe there's nothing, and I have this connection to something, and it feels like God, and it feels like Jesus. That's what I knew him as a kid, or them. Yeah. And it's just a part of me that I like and that I feel like is right inside of me and feels right inside my heart, and I am a hopeful, optimistic person in some pieces of me, and I want that hopeful, optimistic, like we can make things better. There is a purpose. I don't believe in purposelessness, and I know you can have that even as an atheist or agnostic, have purpose, but for me, I just feel like there's something out there, there's something meaningful, there's a purpose for us, and I don't know exactly what it is, but I just feel like there's something that has meaning in this world, and faith has been such a part of my connection to meaning, and I want to keep that, and I do like that, and I feel like it makes me a better person. And so I guess to sum it up, my journey is, I'm still saying I don't know. I'm still saying sometimes I don't believe in anything, but a lot of the times I do believe in something, and there's still this like little bubble of hope and faith inside me in like my faith. Yeah. I just,
how do you feel? Well, a couple thoughts, but how do you feel about, we've gotten a lot of comments, which is so interesting, but a lot of comments telling us like, leave religion behind. It is like so destructive, and like you gotta let it all go, like stop believing. And it's so interesting for me to read those comments.
It's like, why are you so invested in my life? I'm just trying to
what do you think about what do you think about them?
Well, I want to hear what you think, but I guess you're asking me. I get it. I think I'm just wanting to get away from extremes. I think thinking that religion is all fake is also an extreme. Like atheism feels like it can be an extreme sometimes. Because we don't know. Like, what are we doing here? We're on a spinning ball in the vast universe. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is
existence
crazy.
Is crazy. Why do any of us think we can have existence? They're telling us it's definitely not real. Yeah, I get it. Christianity is toxic. No, trust me. I know. I was basically abused by it for 30 years of my life. I was forced into the closet for 30 years of my life. I get it. I totally understand that energy, but I don't want to have an extreme of like, F all you guys. I also still just want to be a balanced person and take every day based on what I am feeling and knowing, and let myself learn, let myself embrace the mystery. I want to embrace mystery, and I have no problem with anyone else having a journey where they do not want anything religious in their life. Yeah. But I do want people to go on their journey, and I just want everyone to be open to each other. The problem when Christianity does bug me is when they're trying to push it on other people. But in general, I believe Christianity can be beautiful. I believe a faith journey can be beautiful if it's not something you feel like you have to enforce on someone else. What do you think about? How does that stuff make you feel? Sorry, no, literally monopolizing the conversation.
No. Everything of that, like it even goes back to the beginning of our conversation when we were saying like one of the big turnoffs with a lot of faith, religious, believing people is they feel like they have the answers. And what it triggers in me is like you is very like disingenuous and like kind of warning signals of like, whoa, like, are you sure? But that same feeling gets triggered for me when I hear someone say like, you have to drop all religion because it's toxic and evil and bad. Like, I'm like, do you realize that you have the same posture as a Christian, telling me what to do with my life, giving me the answers that you feel is right? Like, well said. That also feels disingenuous to me. What I would love more people, I know a lot of people listen to this podcast and they probably feel similar to us. Those people aren't commenting. It's always there's a saying that goes, the shallow end of the pool is always the loudest. And I feel like a lot of our comments are, not all of them, because a lot of you comment really kind things and we think
we love you.
But there are some angry people in there if you've ever read through
the
them.
mic guy's like, okay, I saw your comment, I'm sorry. You came with the mic guy last week. Okay. Sorry, mic guy. We know you're passionate about mics. That's fine. No, keep going. I'm interrupting you again.
That's another tangent because I know
we're not mad at you.
You're annoyed watching us hold the mic. This is hard work.
I get it.
We're annoyed too by it. But yes, we don't have the moolah. Anyways, okay, so my point being, like, it feels like the same side, a different side of the same coin is what I'm saying. And I just wish that that in between the two radicals, there were more people speaking up. And I do feel like sometimes we are those voices, and so we get a lot of the dung thrown at us, to be kind about it. Like, and that's hard.
Dung.
It's hard. The dung.
The dung thrown at us. I've never heard the dung thrown at us. I like that.
Have you heard of the dung beetle?
Yeah. No, I know about dung. I haven't heard dung in a while. Sorry, you said something great, and I just focused on the dung.
Yeah. Anyways, that's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's just extremes. Religion at its worst is extremes, and I think atheism at its worst is extremes. I think we are talking about faith journey, which I want to say, like, I believe faith is something that, even though I don't believe, I think all the time, like, even though, like, sometimes, like, at my core, I'm just, like, doubting sometimes. It's like faith is the choice to believe something that you don't necessarily have all the facts to prove it. Like, if faith was built on something that's 100% tangible and provable, it wouldn't be faith. So I am really accepting of that definition of faith and the mystery and the acceptance of other cultures and other beliefs, and knowing, like, hey, I'm not going to beat you over the head with my belief, because I know there's a lot of different beliefs that make sense.
Yeah.
Faith means, I don't know, but I'm choosing this, and that I resonate with. That's where my faith is really at. Yeah. But the extremism of, I know for sure that there's no God, well, who knows?
And if you really think about it, we all have faith in something. Yeah. We're all a little delulu somewhere, aren't we?
Yes. I have faith in snacks, and
I have faith that one day dating apps will work.
I have faith in dating apps. Retweet that. Re-X that.
And then I'm a dating app atheist. And then I'm like, oh, maybe it'll work this time.
We just gotta move. We're gonna move to New York, and then we're gonna date. Which I've heard it's worse, but Sacramento is small, and we've met everyone. We've met everyone. I don't know. You just like the Patagonias.
I do.
I'm not sure if I want a Patagonia.
Yeah.
And I love your Patagonias. You guys look great, but it's just like, I don't know if that's our culture. But New York is apparently impossible to date in. Sacramento's hard, guys. That's small. Dating. That's another podcast.
What if we move to Ohio?
Ew. I'm so sorry. Your state is great. I lived in the Midwest for a while. I'm not going back. We're not going back to the Midwest.
Oh my gosh, Vermont?
Oh yeah, see, East. Vermont. We could do East Coast. It's not to be New York.
I love it.
I like the East Coast. I just feel like the East Coast gays have something I like.
Yeah,
I don't know.
No, I agree.
It's like that, like, old money thing. Am I a gold digger? We are.
Okay, you know what I heard the other day? Don't take this.
Do not.
This is not advice. This is just something I heard. I heard if you marry. Wait, let me.
I like where we're going here.
Okay, if you love money and you marry for money, you're still marrying for love. And that is girl math. That is girl math.
I mean, I get it. Like, yeah. Sure.
I thought it was funny. I'm not going to do it personally, but I thought it was funny.
You love money a little.
I like the security. I like to be financially secure.
Too.
Financial security is important.
No, I get that for sure.
Yeah.
When you're not, then you're like, oh, it's really, really nice to be that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also that comes from a scarcity mindset. So it's like, it's all the same, right?
Yeah. We need to get rid of our scarcity mindsets, but we also need to make money. So it's like, yeah.
What to buy mic stands.
Yeah. So people don't judge us. I know these mics are crazy.
I'm sorry to the mic guy that
we're not coming at you. We've been through a lot. We're tired.
Now I want to meet the mic guy.
We should have him on.
Oh, you want to be on the podcast, mic guy?
Okay.
I would so do that. That'd be awesome.
We didn't talk about your connection with God. What do you feel like your connection to God has meant for you, and where's it at now?
Yeah, I think my connection to God is very similar to yours. It feels like there is a relationship there. It feels like there's a connection there with a higher power. It feels like when I'm anxious, I can draw and lean on that relationship. Yeah. And the times that I have felt far away from God, it's weird because when we first started this podcast, I would ask guests, like, where's your relationship with God? And every one of them was like, well, I just can't shake it. I can't shake this.
Yeah.
And I always thought, like, that's such a weird way to put it. Like, what do you mean you can't shake it? But it does feel like that in a lot of ways. Like, I just can't shake this feeling that there is something bigger than me out there, and there's something bigger than me at work that has led me down this path. Because you know more of my story, but like the cards that I was dealt, I feel like I should be in a very different position than I am now. And I don't think that I could have drawn from my own strength or from my own will to put myself in this position now. It had to have been something bigger in the universe working for my good. And that sounds so Christianese, but it just so feels like it. Like sometimes I'm like, I should be, I don't know, not in a ditch somewhere, but I really am fortunate to be in the position that I am, given the way I was raised and how I was raised. And yeah. And now I still feel connected to God. And I actually just talked to a friend who, she's a lesbian, and she walked away from the church and is now kind of slowly coming back into her faith. And she was telling me, like, I miss my connection with God, and I didn't realize that I missed it so much, but I always felt like I had to choose between myself and my faith. And I was like, man, like, what a misconception. Like, you don't have to choose between either of those. That's what I think.
No, I'm with you. I think I feel the same way. I can relate a lot. Like, I just want to keep my faith, and I understand that a lot of what's around Christian faith is messy, and a lot of people are using it for their own gain. But there is something that still clings to me that I can't let go. Even when I'm in the worst place of like, this is all crappy, and I got beaten over the head by a million Christians online. I'm just like, yes, this is happening, and yes, people are abusing this, but part of my spirit still likes it. Not even likes it, but connects to it. Feels like it's a part of me, a part of what I believe. And I like that part of me that's connected to faith. I don't want to lose that. I like that hope and that peace that is in that place. And I'm okay with not knowing for sure and being wrong. I'd rather choose stupid, blind faith than pessimism and giving up. And I feel like for me, those are the two choices I have. Like, giving up all of it doesn't feel like what my soul wants. And if I'm stupid, I'm okay with that. I'm okay if people judge me for that. I don't need to get anyone's approval, but that's where I'm at. That's where my spirit's at. And so, I don't think you can beat this piece out of me. I think this piece will stick. It seems like it's sticking.
I think too, like, when we approach this conversation with other people, I think they usually come to us with like trying to get answers of like, this is where I'm at and I don't know what to do. But neither of us rarely give answers. We usually ask more questions than anything, which I think is a different version of Christianity than a lot of people have experienced. It's more of like, we're not going to give you an answer of what you should do. I've never felt like that's our vibe. And so
agreed.
I would be weary of, I don't know, people who say that they know what you should do.
They have it all solved.
Like, for some people, I'm like, you don't have to choose between your sexuality and your faith. And some people really feel like they have to. And that's like what is healthy for them. More power to you.
I know. I feel like I tend to like, I'm an intense person, so I tend to like cling to stances and be pushy. But in general, that is what I believe too. We're not trying to push anyone's opinions a certain way. We're not trying to tell people what to believe. We just encourage you to, don't feel like being gay is inherently wrong, because that just makes you feel awful. But then also, like, we don't have all the answers. It's okay to not have all the answers. And faith should be a journey, not a code book.
I like that. It's a journey.
I need to get on X. I refuse.
No, don't
Blue
get
Sky.
on Blue Sky.
No, we're not political. Stop. I'm sorry. Don't hate us for being political. We just don't want to be canceled. We're just trying to chill. We just want to be alive. So I guess what I'm trying to say in all this is, I don't have a perfect answer for my faith. I don't have something I can give everybody else. I want to influence everybody to accept themselves, because I'm pretty sure in my gut level it doesn't work without accepting yourself. So that's something I'll stand on. But in general with faith, my journey is evolving. I'm not the perfect example of a good Christian right now. I am still in my process. Maybe I'll have a better answer in a couple of years. Right now, I would just say, I do believe you can have your faith, and I believe faith has been good for me, and I encourage you to walk in it. But that's kind of what I'd say in this. I just feel a little dishonest being like, I'm super Christian, when I'm like, I'm not very Christian right now. I just want to clear the air.
What does that even mean?
Right? Well, it's just the definitions that are out in culture. Like, there are people that view me as not Christian enough. I'm like ostracized, not ostracized, I'm so dramatic, but like I feel like gay people are looking at me like, I had one gay person be like, oh, I didn't know you were like did that kind of stuff, like because I like
dabble. Because
like I was like, whatever, like some people are like, oh, you're super Christian, you're not going to do what other people, gay people do. I'm like, it's hard for me because like I feel like culturally I'm a little separated from gay community and I want more gay community, and that's kind of something I want to get into further in the podcast. Like, what is gay culture? What is gay community? That's a whole other thing. But like I feel like I'm a little different than that. But then Christians also think I'm kind of a hoe, and I'm like, I'm in the middle. Like people are judging me on both sides, and I'm like, I just want to do what my gut feels right with, where I feel good with, and I want to be careful and cautious and do things right and be really like ethical and treat people really well in the dating community. But I don't have a strict rule book for what I'm doing in the dating world. And a lot of Christians would be like, that's not very Christian. So I feel like culturally Christians would say I'm not Christian enough, and also not reading my Bible all the time and talking Christianese all the time, like, and not dressing super Christian. Like I think I'm gonna dress a little like less like I used to when I was Christian, because Christian culture does have a look and a style and a vibe, and you all wear kind of the same things that happen to be different than most of the rest of the world. So by that standard, I'm not a Christian. I just have a journey with faith and with God.
See, that's so interesting, because I feel like we could have a longer conversation on that, because it's like, what does that all even mean? And I say that because it's like, what does it even mean for you to like dress Christian? Like my question is, why let what a people group look like, talk like, dress as, define who you are as Nate?
Well, I just would like to be wearing the best stuff, the coolest stuff, looking the best. Christian culture has traditionally been 5 years behind style-wise and 5 years behind music-wise. And all the stuff that's made for Christian world is not the best art. So I think, why are they dressing different? I think it's based in modesty. I think there's levels of it where like Christian clothes need to be more modest or look a certain way to fit into the culture. Like Christianity is a cultural like thing. And so if I just want to wear clothes that feel like me, that I like, and we do adjust our clothing to fit in a culture, but I'm like, why is Christian clothing so different? Like why can everyone tell I'm a Christian when I walk in a room? Like, why are we separated if we're Christians? I think that's the question, because I'm like, if I'm looking at the best style, if I'm looking at the worship leaders, I'm going to dress one way. If I'm looking at the style magazines that are coming out, I'm going to dress another. So I was dressing like Hillsong worship leaders for like 10 years of my life.
That's so funny.
And now I'm like, oh, I'm going to dress based on what's around the community, culturally, what I want to do.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at, is like, why not dress how Nate feels the most comfortable instead of like, because I get that. I do get that. And also, I do have a bone to pick with the girlies from the Christian group, because they stole the lesbian style. And it's really confusing for us when we're out trying Christians to meet people. It's confusing. Anyways, that's one thing. But what I'm saying is like, what is it? Because I'm trying to figure this out for myself too. What does it look like to dress and feel and express myself in the most Susie way, authentic to me as possible, not having it be guided by gay, queer, hipster culture? You know what I mean?
How do you know what's you and what's influenced?
How do you know what's you?
That's the whole thing. Because like, I just don't want to be influenced by anybody. I'm with you. I want it to be coming from what I just want to wear. But there is a little bit of like, style is based on what's going around, and the perfect style is like a little bit of like what's going around combined with what's inside you. So I just think freedom is important. And I think Christian culture, for some reason, the styles all seem to look the same and be in a little bubble. So essentially, I guess this is a tangent, but I would just say like, doing something because it's part of a culture, because you feel like you need to fit in with the culture, that's what I have a problem with. Like, why is Christian culture its own little entity, its own little something?
Well, I'll even play devil's advocate. Why is gay culture, this is how you
could absolutely say that.
Yeah.
Like, why do we have to dress one way? I don't know. These are all things we're figuring out on our personal journeys. It's just finding yourself and not finding...
And that's what I admire.
No one should have to do anything to fit in.
Exactly. I admire so much like certain people that we have met here in Sacramento who are just so them. And it's like... Me. Well, like Anna, like I'll name drop her. Anna is so Anna.
Anna's so Anna. She's
and like
cool.
Anna doesn't care what other people think. Anna's gonna do what Anna's gonna do, and Anna's gonna express herself the way Anna's gonna express.
I feel like Gen Z is more all over the place with style, and I think it's really nice. Millennials all kind of dress the same. Gen Z, it feels like there's a lot going on at once.
Well, it feels like they're just more. They're truer to themselves.
More individualistic.
Yes, which is something that I admire, because I've been more of a rule follower my whole life.
We're both Enneagram 6s. I think we desire to fit in and not make waves.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like want to push out in the style if you think people are going to look at you bad.
Yeah.
And so we just all want acceptance. It's really hard to be individualistic and be brave with style when you're like, if I get rejected for this, that's worse than like, I'd rather like be accepted and feel like I'm not sticking out and then like express myself sometimes. Yeah. And that's valid. Even in gay culture, I think that's what gay culture suffers from. That's what Christian culture suffers from. It's like, we all just want acceptance at the end of the day, over expressing our individuality. But it's like, when did we get sold the lie that we have to fit into something to be accepted? And what cultures can I be in that accept you when you express whoever you are, and your worth is measured based on the internal parts of your brain and your heart rather than what you look like and how you express your style or your art? That's what I want. I want people with a heart that can connect and a mind that's open and empathy and love, like for my partners and for my friends. Like, forget what you wear. And if I'm ever judging someone for what they wear and I miss the chance to connect with a beautiful heart, then screw me. Like, that sucks. I guess that's probably the crux of all of this to me.
Yeah. It's interesting because as we're talking about this, I know that psychologically, the way that we dress, the language that we use, the way that we present ourselves is from like the very beginning to have a tribe, to survive. Like, at the end of the day, we are created and made to want to survive and have the mechanisms to know what levers to pull in order to fit in and be protected by the tribe. So like, it makes sense why we do the things we do. But we're not cave people anymore.
No, we don't have to be in a tribe to survive. We can vibe. We can get along with everybody.
No, I mean, you do need people to survive in the sense of like mental health, but like, you don't need people's acceptance. Yeah,
and you don't need to, you can find a tribe that isn't tribal. That's not like
good.
Judging based on that kind of stuff. There are a lot of people that, you can find people that find value in other things. That's the problem with, and that comes back to Christian culture. The tribalism is an inherent part of the whole thing. Sometimes you have to do all these things to fit in, and you don't even think about what you believe, because if you believe anything else, you don't fit in and you lose your community. So I guess
we devolved.
That's about it. We devolved. But I hope you enjoyed our devolvement. I think that's it for today. Was there anything else you want to say?
No. Join our Patreon chats. We'll be on Discord as well. And follow us on Instagram.
YouTube.
Now that TikTok is gone.
Oh no. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not gone. We were recording this right before.
It's Saturday. We'll see.
It's a weird time. Guys, thank you for everything. Thanks for listening to us ramble. I hope it's been helpful. Sorry if my faith journey's lack of clarity is disappointing. I really do care about everybody, and I do believe we should all follow journeys.
Kumbaya.
Kumbaya. Okay, nothing else to say here.
Bye.
Bye.